Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do a little something different. We're going to do this segment called Walking Around with William, because that's all it really is. We're just walking around. We're going to talk about things like mindset. We're going to talk about money, glass blowing. I'll tell you a little bit of my history. We could just do a deep dive into this today. And maybe one day when I'm watching this off in 10 years from now, I'll look back and say, Jesus Christ, what the fuck were you doing? But it doesn't matter, you know, we're gonna go into this because it matters. Today, let's start with what it is that you think about yourself. Do you like yourself? Do you appreciate where you're going in life? Have you checked all the boxes? You crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's? Or are you somewhere you don't want to be? Are you stuck in a perpetual state of mediocrity? Are you drinking? Are you using drugs? Because that's not what God wants for you. God wants a real path for you, you know, and I'm not very spiritual, because I know they made the whole thing up, but that's beyond the point, you know. Regardless of what religious sect you are, the thing is that affects all of us is our mindset. Our mindset about what we believe about ourselves, how you feel about your impact on the world, what your ego tells you every day, like, I'm a good person, you know, or that insecure little kid inside you that doesn't want to get up and go say hi to anybody. Those insecurities, full of them. We're all full of them. It makes us complete, though. You know, it's not adversity. It's part of the human process. It's part of being human and feeling okay about yourself. You're supposed to do that. You're supposed to be all right, like at least like 80% of the time. You know, you can't be like happy 100% of the fucking time, because it's just not even possible. We get irritated, frustrated at little mundane shit, that, you know, things that shouldn't bother us. The big takeaway would be to not sweat the small things. Remember that, you know, every single day you're deposited, you know, another 24 hours. And we all equal when it comes to time. Every single one of us, from the richest man on earth to the poorest, we're all equals when it comes to time. We're all human beings. We all get a series of choices we get to make during the day. What it's like to be alive. You get to experience it, you know, you get to be here. I'm really grateful that I get to be here with you today on this video, you know. If you're here still, why don't you let me know in the comments where from? That way I can build a community around, you know, knowing. I can know who I'm speaking with, not just into the void. You can throw a comment below and I'll answer it. And if you have any questions for me, or, you know, things that you want to see me do, like projects you want to see me work on, I make glass, I do sheet metal, and I talk about money a lot because I want to kind of release the stigma around it. When I was growing up, my parents would say things to me like, money is the root of all evil, or do you think money grows on trees? We can't afford that. Things of that nature. I heard that all my life, and I adopted those, you know, like, and then I started teaching it to my kids. I started teaching them, what do you think, money grows on trees? Like, well, those rich people must just be greedy. It's just not, it's not correct. You know, it was the script. It's the script that I've been reading my whole life. It's the script that I've been taught my whole life is that money is somehow evil or inherently bad. When I turned 30, I became homeless, and I stayed there for a long time because these ideas that I had adopted about money, why like some people can have all this and others just have absolutely nothing, was a mystery to me. I was really hyper concerned about money all the time, you know, like paying these bills, getting to the next month, doing all I can, and I was running myself ragged, just hustling, working, 50 plus hour weeks, but I can't even seem to make my business work working 50-hour weeks. And it wasn't anything to do about the amount of money I was making, because that was actually pretty good. It was how I was spending it. I was spending it in just awful directions, like drinking and partying, smoking too much weed, just doing things that, drain your bank account, until I'm about 31 and I'm working this particularly hard construction job. It wasn't hard in the sense of I can do construction and I can do just about anything with my hands, and I don't mind some hard work. The reason this was super difficult is because of the time it was. It was a graveyard shift. So I had to start at 7 p.m. and stay all the way until 5 in the morning. And there was nothing really truly to do, so I was just sweeping and cleaning, and I was just really frustrated with that. So I kind of drew my line through the sand. I said, life has got to get better than this. There's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. So I started, asking myself that question. How do some people have all the money in the world while others have very little or nothing at all? They're living in abject poverty, like complete squalors. Here in the richest country on earth, you should have running water at every faucet. You should have a trash service. You should have internet. All these things that makes life enhance and more valuable to the user. I didn't have any of that. Above all, I didn't have any money. I was like one emergency away from just being completely screwed, So, and that was me at 31. At 31, I couldn't even tell you I had $400 for an emergency, because I didn't. I read this headline that said 38% of Americans or some shit don't even have $400 for an emergency. And I was so upset with myself because I was one of them. I didn't have $400 for an emergency. And that's only $400. You ain't got it like that. You ain't got it like that. You're just struggling. You're getting food stamps. You're getting Medicaid. And food stamps and Medicaid is not a great system to be on, because it creates this just ugly sense of entitlement within you that you can't seem to get past until you cut it off. You go the other way. You say, no, I'm not going to be a food stamp recipient. I'm not going to collect Medicaid. I'm not going to struggle in life. I'm going to thrive instead of just survive. And so the game changer for me was I read a book called The Richest Man in Babylon, and the core principle of that book is to pay yourself first. You pay yourself first before you pay any of your bills. And that resonated with me. I was like, well, I mean, what could it hurt to try this on my existence, where I was living in my car, and I have kids, mind you. I can't live in a car with the kids, so they just go stay with their moms, and I'd just visit with them, you know, when I could. But that's no way to live. So I asked myself if I could try this, if I could just try this. You know, I was also, you know, owed my parents some money. I was indebted to them, just a few $1,000s each. But I could, you know, this was over years. I couldn't even look at them straight because I owed them money. Like, when you owe people money, it makes you just ashamed to go around them, you know. It makes you feel like less of a man to live in a country with such grandeur, and you're living in such squalor. So I told myself, I'm gonna pay myself first, and I'm just gonna try this. I'm just gonna try this financial method out called paying yourself first. And so I started doing that. I would get like $600 a week, or whatever it was, $500 a week, $300 a week. It didn't matter. The book suggested I take 10% and I put it away for my future self. It said take 10% and put it away for your future self. So I did exactly that. And now I'm 38 years old, so I'm 7 years into this journey. I've went from relatively obscure and homelessness to owning a house outright, no mortgage. I own another piece of land that I've sold, and I've started cash flowing that. Cash flow is the key. You have to have an income coming in, and something that doesn't require you to physically show up is the best way. What we consider passive income. It's not very passive because you have to really, really work your ass off at it. You know, you're not just gonna buy a piece of land and sell it immediately and you're immediately collecting income. It doesn't work like that. It takes a lot of hard work and persistence. You know, it does. It takes a lot of hard work and a lot of persistence in the diligent saying every single day. You just tell yourself, I pay myself first. I pay myself first. I pay myself first. Say it in the morning, say it in the noon, say it in the night. Say it every single day until the habit resonates with you like your future self matters. Because it does. It does. You won't notice at first either. You're going to be just thrown off. You're going to be like swayed away from this. You're not going to want to do it because you're like, you start to watch this money build up. You get your first 400 and you're like, cool, I've hit that financial milestone of where I'm not in emergency mode anymore. Like I could solve a $400 emergency, but then you just blow it. You just blow it on stupid shit like you always have, because you really haven't changed shit yet. You haven't changed your mind. You're just a spectator at first. For the first, God, I gotta say, this is like a year or 2 or 3 or even 4 years. You're just spectating, but you just keep doing it. You just keep doing it. You keep paying yourself. Every time you get a paycheck, every time you sell something, you just take a part of it, like the first part. That's the key. You gotta be the first. It can't be like after you pay your bills, after all the stuff that you want, because you're not gonna have anything left. You have to make me, myself, incorporated the first bill, because you know what happens when you don't is your heart becomes bitter. You just get so angry that you're working and working and working, and you might as well just be a slave working for what your master gives you. It sucks. It really, really sucks to live that way. You know, you sleeping on somebody's couch, and God, you're at their whims. You gotta go do their dishes. You gotta go, you know, clean up their house. You gotta listen to their bullshit. But when you do pay yourself, when you start prioritizing yourself, you're gonna win in life. You're gonna win in life because you're telling life that I matter too. I matter more than all this stupid shit that I was getting. All these, like, you know, people with their nice phones, their nice cars. They don't have anything that you don't have. If you're driving, you know, a piece of shit car, just be grateful that you got one. Be grateful that you can get to A and B with a car. and you know, you don't have to want that brand new phone, because it's not like, you know, you're not paying for it. They're gonna give you that $1,000 phone on a interest-free payment plan, and that's because they want you to stay this way. They want you to know that you can have that phone for $18 a month, but it's gonna end up costing you like 2 fucking years. When does a phone ever last 2 years before you break that son of a bitch anymore? They just don't last. It's planned obsolescence, and you still owe the bill on that telephone that's broken now, and you don't even have it. You know, you tell me the definition of this insanity is just doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. What you have to do is you have to flip the script and pay you because you matter. You know, I don't know what else I could say about this, except for it's important for your future, and you'll thank yourself when you've done it.